Tyrant is saying, I actually know this one for sure. Why do you think Iranians lost so easily to Arabs in the 7th century? Muslims claim the victory over Iranians as proof of divine intervention by Allah. I think, yeah, first of all, I think they invented Allah to be able to explain their amazing victory because they couldn't even understand themselves. Why was it so easy? They weren't even intending to take over. They're just like, hey, like let's go attack these cities, and they were like, wow, this is like cutting with hot butter through like hot knife through butter. Like this is so easy. Why is this so easy? Like these empires that used to pay us money to attack each other, now all of a sudden we're taking their city one after the other, and it's just too easy. Why is it so easy? And this is why it was so easy. For years, the Roman Empire and the Persian Empire, Byzantine versus the Sassanid, were like fighting each other, and they sometimes used proxies. And who were in the middle? The Arabs were in the middle. So the Romans had their own proxy groups, and the Persians had their own proxy groups, and the Arabs were fighting each other because some of them were loyal, were getting paid by the Romans, and some of them were loyal to the Persians because these are the two giant empires fighting each other, and the Arabs were proxies for each one, and so they keep getting funded based on these. And you know, in history, there's so many examples in history when you use proxies. Sometimes your proxies become too powerful, and they come bite back the hands that were feeding them when they can't afford to feed them anymore. Okay, so the Persian Empire and the Roman Empire, for many years of constantly fighting with each other, they were exhausted. Their resources were depleted. And at some point they stopped paying the Arabs, and these Arabs like, well, we cannot not get paid anymore, so we want to go and take whatever we can get now. And the Persian and the Roman Empire didn't have enough funds to defend themselves anymore because they kept on fighting with each other for many many years. And at the same time, you know what was happening right before this? The plague happened. Okay, so the plague happened, and guess what? Guess which people lived in giant cities. The Romans and the Persians lived in cities, and these giant cities where everybody keeps traveling and trading, they get hit by plagues. Guess who weren't living in cities? The Arab nomads. They didn't have giant cities, so they weren't hit by the plague like the Romans and Persians did. So they were like didn't suffer as much. So this is why when the Arabs were taking over, they were like, why is this so easy? They didn't know why this was so easy, and these are the reasons why it was so easy. Wow, we have Idris here as well. Hey, Idris.
More people.
Hello. I wanted to come on because I saw this question. I also think it's very common in history that nomadic people conquer other people. Mainly, I think because they have more riders, because all the people of a nomadic tribe sort of know how to fight, whereas a sedentary state only have a warrior elite that can be surpassed. So nomadic people in times of crisis, even though they may have less resources, because almost everyone in the tribe is able to fight, I think they can be they often are able to overtake bigger states. And I also think, but I may be wrong, that part of the success of Islam in all its subsequent conquests is the fact that it's a religion that maybe appeals more to a nomadic lifestyle. For example, with the Turkish people or the Tuaregs in Africa that conquered and converted the south, or at least because the people it encountered were nomads, and therefore it was more suited, for example, that Christianity at conquest, whereas Christianity, if you look at the Vikings, converted the Vikings because the Vikings conquered Christian states and then converted for political reasons.
Yeah. This is also very similar to the barbarians and the fall of Rome, and also the fact that the barbarians were proxies of the Romans as well. And they basically, this is why you need to have your own military instead of paying mercenaries, because all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, this is what every single time the Byzantines made the mistake. The original Roman Empire made that mistake. The Persians made that mistake, and the United States made that mistake. These powers like, let's fund these people so to go fight this war, and they're like, oh no, now they're fighting. They have a lot of weapons now, and they're fighting us. And so it's a repeat thing anyways, Mortad is saying, but yeah, thank you so much, Idris, for that. That was very interesting. What do you see the status of Islam being 50 years down the line? Best case, most realistic case, and worst case. What do you guys think?
I think we're going to see a wave of apostasy in many countries. However, that in turn is going to come with a backlash, and I think we're already starting to see some of that backlash as people realize that their children are not. They're questioning more and more.
Yes.
So there's going to be an attempt at a tightening grip. But the human mind and the human spirit will always reach toward freedom. It's in our nature to always reach towards freedom. So
I wonder, with oil becoming far less prominent, whether America will start to properly ditch Saudi, and we'll see like the Wahhabism that's being funded across the globe start to shrivel up a bit.
Let's hope.
Or whether the damage has already been done by all the funding of the mosque. I'm not sure.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's a mess. I think I have a lot of hope. It's not going to be easy, but I think that we're going to see a lot of progress. And it won't be, in a, what's the word I'm looking for? The long arc of history. We'll have setbacks, we'll have obstacles, but the change we've seen in the past 20 years, the change we've seen in the past 20 years has been crazy. Imagine when it's going to be 50 years from now.
And I think now that because the ex-Muslim movement's getting like this critical mass, where once it gets big enough, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and there's no way it'll ever go back to as small as it was. And because it's so prominent, it will always be influencing minds, even if they are closeted. I think it's inevitable that it will just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we will continue to win demographically, and finally we turn the tides, because right now we're winning demographically like so fast, so many people leaving Islam, but we're losing politically. The Islamic theocrats are managing to still have the upper hand, even though they have the lower numbers. I think we're going to turn the tides and also win politically as well. Susanna left. We got a super chat specifically for Susanna. Okay, what's the question for Susanna? Super chat for Susanna when she comes back saying, have you ever seen the TV show Father Ted? What's Father Ted?
It's a Catholic lampoon kind of thing.
Have you seen it, Luke?
I've seen bits of it. I haven't watched the full thing, but I know of it. It's Irish, so.
Idris, are you ex-Catholic as well? Idris is in France.
Well, yes, but it's kind of weird because I never really knew about the full dogma. I went to Catholic school, but I wasn't really strongly indoctrinated, I would say. So I wouldn't call myself really an ex-Catholic per se. Oh.
So you have 3 ex-Catholics here and 1 ex-Muslim. Wow.
We're taking over.
Ex-Catholics unite.
Wait, no, I didn't answer that super chat question.
Oh yeah, you didn't. Sorry.
That was for me. So the short answer is yes, I have seen Father Ted. It's hilarious. I love TV from the UK. So yeah. Anglophile.
Sarah, your challenge actually has been met by Abdullah.
Oh, I hate that so much.
Also, Sarah,
we have answered that challenge.
I would like you to Google the Surah Corona, because this is done quite recently. The Surah Corona is done beautifully. And it actually,
it's better than the Quran. It's actually better. Yes.
It's not that hard to make something sound like a Quran, because the Quran is a nonsensical, poorly written,
crazy thing.
Piece of crap. Like, it's not hard.
Right.